Hey guys, welcome to another video, and today we are doing a review of a 2019 Dodge Challenger SRT Hellcat Redeye Widebody. So thanks to my engine shop Rolling Thunders for sponsoring this video, as they connected me and the owner Anthony at their engine shop in Vaughan, Ontario. On some of those stands you'll find my 6.5 liter Hemi stroker engine, as well as a 600 horsepower Magnum engine that Anthony plans to put under the hood of a Dodge Dakota. Anthony was extremely friendly and nice enough to spend the afternoon showing me around his beastly machine. I do these reviews from time to time on the channel, and I want to do these from a customer standpoint and show and talk about all the relevant and interesting things, showing all the aspects of the car inside and out. On most reviews I find they don't show the little details and make you feel like you're exploring every inch of the car. So I will be splitting up the review in 7 categories. We've got a Hellcat model comparison, design, performance, gas mileage, standard Hellcat features, interior, and the competition. So let's begin. So when comparing the models, we can see that for 2019, Dodge offered 4 variations of the Hellcat. The prices haven't changed too drastically over time in terms of the MSRP. We won't talk about the pandemic and microchip shortage here, so I'll use the 2021 new pricing from Dodge. So the regular body Hellcat comes in around $61,465, and to add a wide body to that is a $6,000 premium. 2019 introduced the Redeye with a cost of around $73,000, and the wide body version of that is another $6,000 extra. So this Hellcat Redeye with the wide body is $18,000 more than your standard Hellcat. Remember, that's all the standard MSRP, so adding options, markups, taxes, and more will result in a much higher final price tag. This specific vehicle cost $100,000 Canadian. Next, let's look at the design. In terms of the Redeye widebody, there aren't too many changes from some of the other lower-end Challenger models, and you've still got that beautiful retro muscle car look. Modern touches are added, like LED running lights and big wheels, but it's still instantly recognizable as a Challenger all these years after the original released in 1970. One of the first things you see would be the new dual snorkel engine hood, a feature that allows more air to get into the engine while also paying tribute to late 1960s and early 1970s muscle cars, like the 1970 Dart Swinger and 1971 Demon. Before this 2019 Redeye, there was a different SRT hood with air extractors for the high-performance Challengers and Chargers. Thanks to a revised air path, this snorkel hood resulted in an intake air temperature reduction of 4 degrees Fahrenheit. You can also tell it's a Redeye by checking out the fender badge of the Hellcat. This one has a red jewel-like eye design, as well as a matching die-cast SRT emblem on the supercharger housing. The wide-body aspect of this car adds fender flares around each wheel that add 3.5 inches of width for a more muscular stance. The flares are integrated into the body design, and the front side marker lights flow with the shape of the fender flares. With that extra width comes wider wheels. 20 by 11 inch Devil's Rim forged aluminum wheels in all 4 corners that have a nice split 5-spoke design. And wrapped around the wheels are 305/35 ZR20 Pirelli P0 tires for improved performance. Dodge did offer 5 stripe options as well as a painted satin black hood, roof, and deck lid. However, this Challenger didn't need that as it's already murdered out with the pitch black paint job, paired with the gloss black wheels. It's a killer sinister look that's perfect for a car with almost 800 horsepower. Overall, the presence of this car is mean, and the design is phenomenal, blending retro and modern aspects together perfectly. I'll cover performance next here, seeing as this is a huge part of this car, as it's the most powerful, quickest, and fastest muscle car. As GM and Ford make their muscle cars leaner and more agile, Dodge keeps pushing their own way by simply adding more power. The regular Hellcat's got a bump to 717 horsepower for 2019, but the Redeye steps it up big time as it was developed to fill the void of the Demon following its 1-year run in 2018. The Redeye is equipped with a slightly less powerful Demon engine, but it's still the most powerful production V8 engine. That would be the 6.2 liter supercharged Hemi V8 with an output of 797 horsepower and 707 pound-feet of torque. That's a pretty hefty increase of 80 horsepower and 51 pound-feet of torque over a regular Hellcat motor. When compared to its demon brother, the Redeye loses just 43 horsepower and 63 pound-feet of torque, and that's with the demon engine running on 100 octane fuel. While a regular Hellcat does get the option of a 6-speed manual transmission, the only offering here is the TorqueFlite 8 HP90 8-speed automatic. Dodge upgraded the torque converter, which delivers an 18% increase in torque multiplication when compared to a regular Hellcat. This Redeye also offered two final drive ratios. 2.62 to 1 comes standard, or 3.09 to 1 is an extra cost of $1,095 from the factory. When compared to the standard SRT Hellcat engine, the Redeye has 25 major component upgrades, including a larger supercharger, strengthened connecting rods and pistons, high-speed valve train, fuel injection system, and improved lubrication system. You can find some of the improvements on screen, like the 2.7-liter supercharger, increased boost pressure up to 14 psi, a higher RPM limit up to 6,500 RPM, and 2 dual-stage fuel pumps instead of just one. Now, what does all that performance get you? Well, apart from being able to smoke the tires and lose the rear end, the Redeye is capable of some very impressive runs down the drag strip. Real-life performance times may vary, of course, but according to Dodge, the 0 to 60 acceleration for the Redeye is rated at 3.4 seconds, with a quarter mile of 10.8 seconds and a top speed of 203 miles per hour. When compared with the other Hellcats, we got the regular widebody, and Redeye non-widebody. 0 to 60 time differences are pretty negligible, but you do gain a few tenths of a second in the quarter mile over the others if you have the Redeye widebody. And those performance times would be even more impressive if the car wasn't a whopping 4,436 pounds. So far, this particular Redeye in the video has clocked in at around 11.4 seconds on the drag strip, with no changes other than tires. And along with the tires, to help stop the car, are massive Brembo brakes with 15.4-inch 2-piece vented and slotted rotors and 6-piston calipers up front with 4 pistons in the rear. The calipers are finished in orange, which is a $595 factory option. The standard color is red, but for that extra cost, you can go for the orange, black, or gunmetal gray. I know that nobody in their right mind would buy this car for gas mileage, but one cool stat is that the Hellcat Redeye consumes 1.43 gallons or 5.4 liters of gas per minute, which is enough to drain the gas tank in under 11 minutes, and that's at full throttle. So as expected, you really need to pay to play with this toy. But otherwise, the EPA ratings are 13 city and 21 highway MPG, and 16 combined. Dodge went to great lengths to try to keep the operating temperatures down here, and that starts with the larger induction airbox with 3 sources of intake air: the dual snorkel hood, the driver's side air catcher headlight, and another inlet near the wheel liner. When combined, these 3 sources give the engine an 18% greater airflow rate than the previous Hellcat engine, which is 1,134 cubic feet of air per minute. And at full power, this is the equivalent flow rate to 89 adults simultaneously emptying their lungs in exactly 1 second. So it may not seem like too much, but it really does help in the end. The Challenger Redeye also gets some extra features from the Demon, like torque reserve, which delivers up to 3.9 pounds of boost at launch by pre-filling the intake, high-strength steel prop shafts for a 15% increase in torque capacity, 41 spline half shafts for a 20% increase in torque capacity, and it's also got the SRT power chiller and after-run chiller. The SRT power chiller is described on screen, where it redirects air conditioning refrigerant from the cabin to a chiller unit, then it gets cooled further, and finally flows to the heat exchangers in the supercharger. The after-run chiller is also called race cooldown, and that's another cool feature that keeps the engine fan and coolant pump running after the engine is shut off, which helps to lower the supercharger air cooler temperature. Now we can cover the standard features that are found on all the SRT Hellcat models and not just the Redeyes. I won't go over them too in depth, but you can find them all described more on screen. So there's adaptive damping suspension with 3 modes: auto, sport, and track. Electric power steering can be calibrated for a variety of settings. Launch assist stores and releases energy in the driveline, helping to maximize traction and reduce wheel hop. Torque reserve pre-fills the intake with boost once the engine speed passes 950 RPM. Launch control holds the engine at optimal launch RPM until the driver releases the brake. Line lock engages the front brakes but keeps the rear wheels free for a burnout. And the SRT drive modes and SRT performance pages allow for many adjustable settings and data. Now moving inside, the Redeye doesn't really get many substantial changes from the normal Hellcats. The Redeye alone has some unique features, like a 220 mph red speedometer, SRT Hellcat Redeye logo splash screen, a light black chrome instrument panel badge that also has the Redeye logo, and finally one more logo is found on the key fobs. The interior has aged a bit since the 2015 release, but it's still comfortable and practical. I will say that for an $80,000 vehicle, it lags big time behind other luxury vehicles in that price range. But then again, it is a muscle car, so I'm not sure that that's an entirely fair comparison. The seats are big and comfortable, and just like the Demon, there is a $1 option to delete the rear seats. Otherwise, the Challenger is the only muscle car with a usable second row and seating for 5. The seats in this Redeye are the black Laguna leather with the SRT Hellcat logo, and this car also has the optional $395 red seatbelts. Overall, the cabin is spacious with lots of room. One of the best infotainment systems on the market can be found in there, the Uconnect 4 with the 8.4-inch touchscreen. You can spend lots of time sifting through the screens, including the popular SRT performance pages where you can read out real-time data or change your controls. I'll let the owner Anthony take us through the menus a little bit here.
Okay, so you've got a custom setup. You got race options. In your race options, you can set your launch control up or down. Okay, you can set up line lock. That'll lock up your front wheels. Okay. You got race cool down here. That the coolant temperature. It's got all that. All conditions must be met. But you do that when the engine's off. Once you go into track mode, your conditioning diverts from the cabin to the chiller on your engine, right, on the supercharger. Okay, and then you've got all custom setup, and you can do whatever you want. You can just flip the switches and you set that up in custom mode, and it'll keep it there.
The one sacrifice is active safety, as the Redeye has specific cooling needs that can't accommodate many of those safety sensors. So features like adaptive cruise control, forward collision warning, and automatic emergency braking are gone here, but they are found in every other Challenger. Other competitors in this muscle/sports car field with high horsepower should really only include the other American brands, the Chevrolet Camaro ZL1 and Ford Mustang Shelby GT500. You could argue that some other vehicles like a BMW M4 or Jaguar F-Type are also high horsepower coupes, but they are targeting a totally different market of people in my opinion. So let's look at the Camaro and Mustang. The ZL1 costs $62,000, nearly $17,000 less than the Redeye, and it has the 6.2-liter LT4 supercharged V8 pumping out 650 horsepower and 650 pound-feet of torque. It does have a manual standard, paired with the Tremec 6-speed, but the Hydromatic 10-speed automatic is slightly faster. 0 to 60 happens in 3.4 seconds, while the quarter-mile run is 11.4 seconds with the automatic. So it's a bit less powerful, but that's offset by less weight, as its 3,900 pound frame is roughly 500 pounds less than the Redeye. As for the GT500, it released in 2020 with a base price of $74,000, filled with a supercharged 5.2-liter V8 engine with 760 horsepower and 625 pound-feet of torque. It has the Tremec 7-speed dual-clutch transmission, and Ford claims 0 to 60 times of around 3.4 seconds, with an 11.3 second quarter mile. The curb weight falls between the Camaro and Redeye, around 4,200 pounds. This is definitely a track-focused car though, so while the Redeye might win on the drag strip, the GT500 will have the faster lap times. So that's the end of this video. Hopefully you enjoyed this review of this 2019 Dodge Challenger Hellcat Redeye Widebody as much as I did. Thanks again to the owner Anthony for allowing me to grab all this sweet footage of the car. Make sure to let me know what you think about this thing down in the comment section below. As always, thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe for all your Mopar content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.